today in this video, I'm warning the listeners and viewers beforehand. My eyeline is gonna be all over the place because I'm just gonna keep looking at myself in the monitor.
Oh, nice. Let's get started.
Let's get started. Episode 20, huge milestone for us. There's a blender in the background. I don't think people can hear it,
No.
but I'll still mention it.
Only we can hear that.
I'm an honest podcaster.
Yeah. But we're trying a setup. We're trying our YouTube setup.
If you guys don't like it, that's not our problem.
And Natasha's still trying to get comfortable.
I'm so comfy.
Why don't you move your leg back into that
I'm
position?
so comfy right now.
So Natasha has this thing, and she's done this all the time that we've dated, which is if she's sitting next to me and she like crosses her legs.
Which I always do.
Which she
because I
always
can't
does.
keep my feet down.
Yeah, if she crosses one leg, she will then take that leg and put it underneath, like behind my thigh, like my calf.
Yeah.
And that way it like gives
It's
her support.
Yeah.
And
so it
it's
doesn't keep
so
sliding
confusing.
down.
I just can't do it. Like if I try to do it, I just can't. I can't
you're
do
a
this.
boy and you have
Yeah,
things in the way.
middle, I guess.
Okay.
Also
Good.
this,
I'm glad we. Oh, okay. Go on. I was like really gonna smoothly segue into what I want to talk about, but
I just realized that like when I sit down, I'm the same height as Natasha.
actually, I'm taller.
No, I can sit better. Oh my god, I think she is. I think she's still taller than me.
My upper body is a lot taller than my lower body, and
I'm mostly
yours
legs.
is the other way.
Yeah.
Our kids are gonna be equal, like
Good job. High five.
tall kids only. Imagine our kid has my legs and your torso.
Fucked.
It'll be so small.
Yeah.
Okay. Quickly back to talking about the fact that you're a boy and you have things in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
I really wanted to talk about periods.
Oh, is that what the conversation
That's
today
what I
is
said
gonna
to you
be?
yesterday when I was like, I know what I want to talk about.
Yeah.
Periods, because I got my period yesterday. My time of the month. And if my brother listens to this, he makes so much fun of me.
But notice how she says it, right? Like she will start by saying, I got my period today. Like, there is an actual inflection.
No, there isn't. I got my period today.
This is the first time you've done it, and overemphasization has happened for the first time. Otherwise, if you ever, in the conversation, you'll realize it'll be a little dip. And
There's a whole, like, because it's,
and given that I'm the editor, I'm just going to make that a little bit more.
I'll explain. Please don't. I'll explain why that happens. It's because, like, we were always conditioned to not talk about our periods as kids.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, when we were in school and stuff, and I'm sure you, like, boys must have noticed this, right? And I'm so distracted because I can see, like, 3 wasps outside.
Oh.
And it's scaring me. Anyway, far off, but outside. In school, every time a girl got her period, she would, like, go and, like, whisper to people and be like, do you have a pad?
Oh.
And it was so sad.
Is that why it's called whisper?
Maybe.
Oh my god.
Maybe.
Mind blown.
And so many people wouldn't even say pad. They'd be like SP. Which doesn't
Oh,
mean
sanitary pad.
But, like, people call it sanitary napkin. So, I don't...
Pad
Anyway.
bhi bolte hain.
Yeah.
Pad is a common
And then
thing.
there were some girls who'd, like, wrap it up in newspaper and bring it so that when they wanted to dispose, they could wrap the used one up in newspaper. I just wrap it in the packaging.
Isn't the packaging supposed to be for that?
That's what I thought. But I guess, like, the newspaper thing is also, like, concealing the pad further and all of that.
But
Anyway.
what did you call it when you were like I feel like a lot of girls had different names for
Most
it.
people say I'm down.
Yeah.
I don't know where that came up from. I feel like a little bit of it has to do with just the fact that you're emotionally down or whatever, and physically, like, because it does drain you out and stuff like that. So I think that's where it came from. Another thing that people used to call it was chums.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All the oldies call
All
it
the
chum.
oldies call, like, my mom and Masi
I think
would
my
say
mom also
chum,
calls it that.
chums, whatever. And I remember having a conversation with one of my friends about it once, and she explained it to me, and I don't remember what she...
Chumming the water. It's like a shark thing.
I can't remember
Like when
what she
you
told
when
me.
you go into the ocean and you want to see sharks,
Yeah.
you chum the water. You want to like get things out of the ocean, then you like throw dead fish in it and blood so that like sharks come up and they like eat it up. So maybe
I don't think it comes from there.
that's the only actual utilization.
Chums is like friends. Chums.
That's chummy.
I think it comes from Friends more than anything else.
The TV show?
No. Anyway, you're completely unprepared. I have lots of things to talk about, but I don't want to go on a rant. So
give me a structure.
No,
We'll follow it.
I'm gonna let you start with any random question that you'd want to ask me about periods. It could be personal. It can be in general.
So, as a student of biology, I never actually learned this formally because we didn't do human anatomy. But I think I know a decent amount. I don't have questions per se. I think one of the things that always like fascinates me is the fact that like you're gonna go on your period and you're like okay with it. Like there's no like pre-period stress, but there's sometimes there is, but like
so I mean, yes, one is that like you are gonna go on your period and you can't do anything about it, so like fucking deal with it. There is stress sometimes. It's like especially I was so stressed because we've planned our like wedding dates and my period was falling on the date of the wedding and I was like, fuck, I'm gonna have my period on the day of our wedding, and that's already stressing me out even though it's 8 months from now, right? So like that happens. Luckily my period this cycle got delayed by 3 days, so hopefully
you have no control over what happens there. It's like a jack in the box. You never know when it's happening. I mean, like plus minus at least a week is what it is.
So what happened, at least my cycle is that it's always 31 days. So by the time it adds on those 8 months, I will be at least like 4-5 days ahead.
Does your app tell you when it will be that further down?
No.
What a loser
Not
app.
always. I mean, so when the app started actually and people were like, wow, I love flow, I love this. And I was like, oh, cool. Like, will it tell me if I'm going to have a delay in my period? Like, what's up? It doesn't do that. It basically
Maybe you should ask ChatGPT.
It basically just calculates your cycle once you've like fed in enough data. And then it tells you, I mean, the reassuring thing is that like it gives you that like 3-day before after buffer so that so if you are technically late, it will still tell you that your period can come in these 3 days. So you're not like stressing. There was a time when I was like, fuck, it's late, you know? So all of that. But then after like 3 days, it's like late for 1 day. Yesterday when I like clocked it or whatever and I logged it in, it was like late for 2 days and then it updated again. So then because I updated, now it'll change my cycle for the next month and all of that. But what it helps with is like you can keep track of your ovulation and blah, blah, blah. Not like I need it, but it basically allows there to just be a calendar for your cycle. So yeah. You don't have any questions? I thought you'd ask me personal things.
When was the first period What was your first period experience?
So let me take you back to 12-year-old Tashu.
12? Isn't that too early?
No.
When does it typically start?
12, 13. Now it's actually, from what I've heard, and I think like, stop stealing my Diet Coke. From what I've heard from younger moms, Rachna Masi. Bless you. Kids are now getting their periods even sooner. So it's actually changing biologically and everything. As well.
So you said Rachna Masi because of...
She's the younger mom and she has 2 kids.
Right, like you're getting it from her daughters.
Yeah.
I thought like from Rachna
Masi. No. From her daughters who are like, I want to say, one is 11 maybe, the other one is younger, but whatever. Or maybe they're older now, I don't know. So anyway, actually what I meant was, let me take you back to a 10-year-old Tashu. When we were in school in the 5th grade, and they were taking us from like when we were moving into like senior school, okay, and they had that whole like conversation about reproduction and you will get your period and blah blah blah, and then what they basically did, you must remember it as well. They basically like split up the boys and girls, and we both had like both sets of kids had like different workshops about like things are gonna be changing, and I'm sure they must have explained like boners and masturbation and stuff to you, or did they not?
So with ours, we had 2 workshops. Remember, one
was in the 5th, then one was
grade,
later,
and then one was
like
in the
7th.
8th or 7th, maybe 7th. And the second one was actually done by trained professionals.
Yeah.
The first one was just by
School.
teachers, which is even worse because, like, you know, you don't think of teachers in that way, and then you're like,
Yeah, it's still more comfortable
like,
for girls, but we had only female teachers and maybe like one male teacher.
So it was like
Amit,
just female teachers were telling us all about it.
So that's really awkward
And
to sit through.
And like ours was really weird. It was all the boys from our batch, and we were sitting under a tree. And it was a tree. It was a fruit-bearing tree.
It was the big one.
Yeah,
with the mulberry.
Big one. Yeah. Thanks for that. she like flailed her arms.
Fun fact: when they cut off the tree, and I know they said they'll transport it.
They did transport it.
I know, but when they told us they were cutting it off, I cried. I was
course
really
you
sad
were.
about it.
Yeah, that makes sense. That tracks.
And then we were like pretty old by then. We were like in the 10th, I feel.
Yeah,
when
probably.
it happened.
You were probably not in the 10th.
I was
probably
15.
in the 10th.
Okay, fine. I was
Anyway.
14. I was old enough.
So
to not cry about
So
stupid
yeah,
things.
ours was like that. And they basically like they told us a bunch of things, and I feel like a lot of those things just went over my head. Like
Yeah.
I was not ready for like
So much information.
they don't tell you in advance that, oh, by the way, this conversation is going to happen
Yeah.
and all. Like they just drop it on you and you're like, what the hell? But they gave us like this thing where it was like anonymous questions and like
Yeah.
everyone could ask things.
Yeah.
And,
Did you ask? Do you remember?
yeah, I asked about condoms because I had no idea. I actually even asked about I asked about sanitary pads.
So sweet.
And
Archit is such a gentle
Someone
boy.
else asked about condoms, and that's where I learned the word latex. After that, I've been like, that's how I learned the actual word latex. It was really fun. But yeah, I asked about sanitary pads because I was very inquisitive about the ads that used to come on TV, like Whisper and Stay Free.
Those ads.
And it's like no leakage and like
Bullshit.
everything was such a
Look, a pad can't stop you from leaking.
no, but like that ad, like
Yeah.
to me as like a 4th grader or 5th grader, when they're just like, and they used to come everywhere. There wasn't like an age restriction to them, surprisingly, which is not bad, but also confusing to children who don't have any idea. But like it was always on Cartoon Network and things like that. And they would show like blue water. And they would like pour the blue water.
Yeah, and then the way it would soak and stuff.
And then all of a sudden you just see this like healthy fit woman in
In
like,
white pants.
in white pants, like, you know, like doing things that are like, so it was very confusing. I was like, I don't understand what this product does.
Yeah.
And I kept on asking my mom, this like, what is this
And
product?
she was like, just shut up.
Yeah, she's just like, it's a thing. Like she got really frustrated because I asked her a lot of times, and I was like, fair, like it's a fair thing to be frustrated by, because clearly you have to like explain a whole lot of things before you get to what this pad does, right? You can't let's go backwards.
Oh, by the way, girls just bleed once a month.
Yeah, and I was like, what? So yeah, and it was like, I think it was like the first time we really discussed the female anatomy, but not really. It was mostly the male anatomy. We really just focused on ourselves. But yeah, this was about periods, so we should go there.
Yeah. So so in the 5th grade, when they took us through all of this, I feel like, I mean, my memory kind of sucks, especially my childhood memory. But I feel like they talked to us about like what is a menstrual cycle, how does it work, why is it like 14 days and 7 days and blah 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 and whatever. And it obviously went over all of our heads because we were like, what the fuck does this shit mean? And I feel like around that time,
had anyone started periods by then?
I don't think so. Okay. People were also, again, so coming back to like the whole taboo about it, right? People didn't talk about it as much. And like, I remember the first time I got it, I was like really upset and I was like crying and shit like that.
Because you didn't know what happened.
No, you know, you're prepared for it. Like, you know it's happening and you know what it's going to be like. But like, are you ever prepared to pull your underwear down and see a pool of blood? No. Right?
And
like,
is it really a pool the first time?
Yeah. It depends. It depends. Look, so at least how mine works is that my first day, or like, well, ever, you don't just bleed in one go, right? So a little bit, you start spotting and then you start bleeding.
Yeah.
But like, let's say I start spotting when I'm sleeping at like 2 a.m. and then I wake up at 8 a.m. It's 6 hours have passed. then blood is there, right?
When do you
then,
wake up at 8 a.m.?
I'm just giving an example.
Your average wake up time is 10 a.m. Let's be realistic.
I wake up at 6:45 average time.
7.
Whatever. So yeah, I was really upset. So let's go to my first period now.
Yes.
It was exactly a week before I turned 13.
Whoa.
It was the day I was celebrating my 13th birthday. I don't know why I decided to celebrate in advance, because like I have a chutti after my birthday.
Yeah, your VIP birthday.
Yeah, but I don't know, that maybe there was some other chutti or whatever. So it was exactly a week before I was turning 13, and I remember like I went to pee after waking up, and I see this like pool of blood, and then I like open the door and I like scream for my mom and stuff, and then she comes, and oh, it was traumatic. Like,
What'd she say?
I mean, she was like, it's okay. Like, she was like, she taught me how to use the pad. I don't know if she taught me before, but like she basically got me like fresh underwear and stuff. And then I was like, and then I was so like bothered by like this underwear that I had bled into, and I was like, oh, mommy. And then she was like, I'll wash it and stuff. It was just really sad. But
why is it sad? Like, aren't people excited by it? Like, isn't it like a
no.
rite of passage kind of a situation?
No way. It's painful. It's uncomfortable. I mean, things have changed now. It's not as uncomfortable.
People like really take pride in it. Like, at least in popular media, it's like, oh, she's become a woman now, and like whatever. Like, isn't that a thing? Like, even Gilmore Girls had that.
Sure, like they do all of that in like pop culture, but like, I don't know. I think everybody's emotions are very different when it comes to experiencing a period. Even now, like there are days when I tell you every time it happens, like if my cup leaks and I stain my underwear, I'm just so upset because I'm like, fucking hell, I'm gonna have to wash this shit now, and like all of that. Like, obviously not having a breakdown and a meltdown ki like, oh, aise kaise ho gaya, but like it's not fun to me.
Personal growth.
Yeah. And then so my cycles are like 6 days, which is so unfortunate because there are girls out there, fuck you all,
How dare
who
you?
have like 3-4 day cycles.
So what?
It's a joke.
That's so mean.
Okay, sorry ladies. But
I know someone who gets the period once every like half. Only gets 2 periods a year.
that's I mean, that's sad for them because that's not natural and everything. But yeah, I also know someone who gets them for 10 days a month.
Whoa.
Yeah. So yeah, and it's a really confusing thing. Like you basically feel like,
I mean, you don't have to
now it's
explain.
TMI.
You don't have to explain. Like 80% of our listeners are women.
But yeah,
The rest probably know already.
So yeah, I thought like we should talk about that. I wanted to discuss like, as a man, how do you deal with like periods for like your friends, your partners, your mom?
So I never know when anyone's on the period except you, really. Like,
Because I tell you.
Yeah, like my mom rarely tells me that she's on her period.
Yeah.
Like sometimes if she's in a lot of pain, she'll tell me. So like, okay, cool. In terms of taking care, I think it's a very fine balance, because see, like you really can't attribute emotions to the period, like you as in the
boy,
the
man,
the partner, regardless,
or man. Like I think it really offends us.
Yeah, it really offends you. But parallelly, they can attribute it to it,
because we go through it,
and then you just have to be like, oh, I understand. But
you better.
So no. So complete, like, you know, like if men were bleeding for 10 days.
I feel like I use that threat on a man like once every 2 months. Easy.
Yeah.
I'm like, how about you bleed from your penis and I'll tell you how that feels.
Yeah. So I mean, fair, like whatever. Like I think one is that, so Natasha, you're like very cognizant of your like emotions when it comes to periods, and you're very like saying, okay, yes, this is because of it. So it's a lot easier to then like have normal conversations and yes, you have to be a little bit more supportive at that time and things like that. But I mean, other than that, like sometimes we do like, oh, she's having a craving for chocolate or something like that. So I'll send you some stuff.
Where was
and
my chocolate yesterday?
I asked you what
No, I
chocolate
don't
you
wanna
wanted.
have it.
You were on a diet as well. I don't want to give you chocolate and you're like, I can't eat this.
Exactly.
You know? So exactly.
I'm glad you didn't.
So those are things. Sometimes I'll just like, sometimes she's like really low, so I'll go meet her.
Yeah, I
all
think
the
that
time.
really does it for me.
Yeah, so those are things that we definitely do, but we're also like pretty much like conjoined. So there isn't really a time that feels like, oh, like you have to be extra just because of it.
Yeah.
But I've definitely done that in the past when we were still dating and new and all of that.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really like, and that's the thing, like my whole thing is that even though a person's on their period and they're emotionally reacting, that's still an emotion. Like you can't, you never know when someone's on their period, so you can't be like, oh, are you on your period, right? So I don't do that at all. And I take emotions at face value.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever told you, I've ever asked you, are you on your period? Like,
Yeah.
I think sometimes when you've just like had a huge meltdown and I'm like, 21st.
Makes sense.
It's close. I was like, hey, how are you doing? Like, fertility wise.
I mean, like, I know it as well. And like, I don't think PMS hits me as bad as it hits a lot of other women.
Does, yeah.
But it's not so bad, okay?
No,
and
it really depends on temperature.
No,
like
but-
summers you're really bad.
It's fucking hot. I'm boiling right now. Day before I was like in a jacket under a blanket. But like, no, I was gonna say something. Yeah, like if some like small thing, even if it's a big thing, but I'm just like, I cannot control my emotions. I just know that my period is nearing, right?
Yeah.
Like I can just tell by the wreck that I am. And the therapy has helped. I think I'm a lot stronger now. I don't cry for everything. So like this morning, Archit and I came across this like vlog by this kid. And he was like vlogging about all his college acceptances.
Yeah.
And like I started crying in one of them because I was like, oh my god, I'm so happy for him. But that's my period talking. Like on a regular day, I probably
No.
wouldn't have.
Again, that's exactly right. Like she would do that on a regular day.
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah, you would. How dare you say that? You would do that.
I only do it
150%.
in movies.
You do it all the time, Tasha. You will cry if like anything happens. Like if you see a little like puppy like fall down, you'd cry. See, there you go.
He's a puppy. Why are you trying to kill him?
But like everyone, like you, I think you see puppies everywhere you go. Like that's how you like navigate.
They're so
life.
cute.
Yeah.
Cool.
We should do an episode on crying.
Okay, I'll cry every like 5 seconds. You have fun. I'll have a headache.
No, we should do an
But
episode
okay,
on crying.
one more question. And like this is coming from like at least personal experience. I don't know how other people felt about it and stuff. Like when I was younger and still uncomfortable with periods and pads and blah blah blah, it was very like difficult for me. And I remember the first time I had to go and buy pads for myself. And I remember the first time my brother realized that I had gotten my period. Okay, so the buying pads is like, you go to a chemist, there's only men. Okay,
Yeah.
and then you're like, and then I used to try to be really cool about it. So instead of being like, can I have a pad or like whatever, I'd just like name it or like I'd point at it or something, and I'd be like, I need a whisper, whatever.
Yeah.
And then with my brother, I think I'd like brought back a bag. And another thing that they do in India, I don't know about the rest of the world, if they give you a pad, they either give it in a black
Kali panni.
black
plastic bag.
plastic bag, or they give it, and now at least chemists all have those paper bags and stuff, so it's anyway concealed. But the whole black plastic thing. So I once brought back a plastic bag of pads, and my brother like snatched it out of my hand. He's like, what did you get? What did you get? And he opens it, and then he's like, oh, you have your period. Ha! I was like, what the fuck is going on? So yeah, he's a little immature, but whatever. And I remember being like, what the hell, Nikhil? But I know you're pretty comfortable. Like I used to be like, there was a time when I was like, oh, I have to put on a pad, like, or like even if I was touching a pad, and this is a little like psychological as well. I used to like feel gross about it, so I would like want to wash my hands instantly and stuff like that. It's
You're
a lot
really strange,
psychological. But
I'm not gonna lie.
how
it's
do
pretty
you
strange.
how do you feel about women's products? Like, what are your comfort levels?
Oh, I'll buy anything.
Okay.
But I wasn't like this. And I think what changed was that before we were dating, I had to buy condoms. And I went to like a...
Thanks for specifying before we were dating.
Yeah. Because I'm like, I want to show you like the temporality of when the
Fair.
confidence came in.
Okay.
So in like I think college really helped because like condoms are just everywhere. Like,
Yeah, also like your best friend was a girl. Like I
yeah,
think
yeah,
that
yeah.
helps a lot.
So like I bought tampons for her all the time, and like I mean, my best friend, we went to Croatia and had a UTI, and I had to take care of her. I mean, I didn't do much, but I was just supporting
do
her
much.
everywhere, and everyone thought I was her boyfriend. And we went to a urologist, and there were 2 pregnant ladies and me and her. And I was like, she was like, "You wanna come in?" And I was like, you know, like I was like, this is a threshold. I was like, it's up to you if you need me, sure, but like I'm
in Croatia,
Gucci.
you had to go to a urologist.
Yeah,
Oh,
and nobody knew English. It was very hard.
Obviously, like that's why.
Except the doctor, so that was great. But yeah, so like I was like all of that really helped. But then I was like always thinking that, you know, you go to a chemist and you ask for condoms, it'll be really stressful and all that. And for the longest time I didn't. Like I would just like order it or something and get it. But
on Amazon.
On Amazon, because you don't have Swiggy.
Yeah, you
and
don't
all
have
that.
Swiggy. That's
Yeah,
why.
so on Amazon or like Flipkart or something. I don't know. So but then I went to a chemist. I was like really confident. I walked and I said, condom, and I didn't even say the name. I said condom. He's like, "Kaun sa chi?"
You should take the name. That's when they know that you know your shit.
That's okay.
That's what I did with
I was
the
like, "Kya hai
pads.
aapke paas? Dikha do." So he showed me all of
Fair.
it and everything, and
Yeah.
there was no like, you know, like that. Oh, he's gonna get some tonight, like that look, and
Yeah. I
none
think
of
that's
that was there.
exaggerated.
Yeah,
in
none of
movies.
that was there, and it was just like a very like normal thing, and I was like, huh. It's pretty convenient. And so that really like got me out of that whole feeling that this is happening. But the other thing that I've noticed, I didn't notice before, was that most of the chemists, they will keep the condoms and the sanitary napkins on display before the cashier.
Yeah.
So you can pick it up and go as compared to ask.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that
They
chemist
didn't do
that I
that
went
before.
to didn't have it.
They actually didn't do that before because I remember there was a time when pads were kept on like top shelves.
Yeah.
And you had to like specifically ask, and then they would take them down, and then you'd be like, "No, this is not the fucking one I want, idiot."
Yeah.
So all of that used to happen at one time.
So that has really changed it. But yeah, I think college really helped with all of that. In college, like they would just give you bowls and bowls, like giant bowls of condoms, and they were just like lying everywhere.
Yeah, I mean that's
So
the other
contraception is
thing,
the
right?
best.
Like difference between India and other places, and specifically the US.
Yeah. So sexual health was such a like an
Priority
open conversation, and nobody had like nobody just called it down or anything. It was just period.
I mean, now I don't give a shit. But there was
but I'm
it took a
sure
while.
people our age would still do that, right? Like, so yeah, there is like stigma and taboo, which is very confusing to me. But high amounts of privilege here, so can't be a great,
Cool. Give 3 tips. Even though, like, I know that most of the listeners on this podcast are women.
Yeah.
I'll give 3 tips.
I can give 3 tips for the female partners.
Yeah, that's what I meant. So give 3 tips as to how you can support your partner.
Oh, sure. I'll give you 4. One is a little cheeky one. The first tip is like one, never ask if it's about the period, and like that's just a big no, because regardless, it's still emotion is emotion. It doesn't matter how the fuck it came. And it also doesn't discount the shit that you were doing, which is why you got screamed at. So might as well like understand why that's happening first. The second is like have honest conversations about the fact that about your period, like make it a normal thing, and don't make it a thing which is like a monthly event where the girl has to hide. It's like a normal thing. Like,
I don't think I ever hid from you.
Yeah,
It's like deal with it.
Yeah, like and I don't think anyone would do that, but like make it a conversation, make it a fun thing, make it a thing where you're like having fun about it as well, because we do that all the time, right? And like,
I also feel like the more open your partner tries to be with you about your period, the more you're actually able to open up to them, right? Like if you're asking me questions, I will answer them. I'll be like, no, I cannot talk to you about this, right? So like, obviously a lady might not want to be like, hey, here are five things you need to know about me when I'm on my period. But if the guy asks, or if anybody asks, like, there's a higher chance for them to open up and
Well,
talk
also,
about it.
if you do that right from the start, or at least when you're more comfortable and you've opened up some boundaries, then it also allows for the partner to really come back to you and tell you, like, hey, I'm on my period and things like that. So that is helpful. And the third, I have 4, right? The third is, chocolates are really, really helpful. Spending time is also helpful. Again, the best way to find out, do the love languages quiz.
Why does chocolate help? Tell us, Mr. Biologist.
Antioxidants and tryptophan. Turkey would do the same thing if you have that.
Turkey? Ew.
High amounts of
Really?
tryptophan. Yeah.
What about ice cream?
Yeah, anything that feel good is basically what you want to do. Bring in
What
some
about-
more endorphins.
What about Cheetos?
I don't know. Depends on the person. Some people are whack, so they may like it.
That's so funny.
So that.
And then the fourth?
Oh, and the fourth. The fourth one's a little funny.
Okay.
Once you know when someone's on their period, you can very well track the period as well.
Okay.
And then you have an idea of when someone's going to be on their period, so you can be equally prepared if they're not telling you.
That's
And
not cheeky.
It's cheeky because it's kind of like, it's invasion of privacy in many ways. But I've done that.
Do you track mine?
I have done that. When I got the Apple Watch,
Yeah.
it had the menstrual tracker. I had started doing that.
Really?
But then I didn't need to, because
I just announced
Yeah.
it 3 days in advance.
so now it's like, so now I don't need to do it at all. But like I did, like I just wanted to understand how it even works, and it was like a new feature that surprisingly it was such a gendered app, right? Like that thing that they launched. So I was like, how does this work? I want to see what it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, I still use Flow, but Flow and Apple,
Talk to
each other. So they also track it. And I'm like, shut up, I didn't ask you.
So Dash, the last thing, do you just want to like talk about your menstrual cup? Because I feel like that's been a really like big revelation for you.
Yeah. Cool. Interesting. I don't know where to start. I know that I started hearing about it, and then I was like, no, this is too like hectic for me. And I've always been a pad person. Again, huge like difference in India and the rest of the world is that we tend to use pads. I know that in America, tampons are like introduced to 10, 11, 12-year-olds, and they just always use tampons. My issue with tampons always was that I'm the pee wash kind of girl. Pee wash wipe.
Sure.
And I don't know, maybe I just always struggled to put tampons in properly, but because every time I peed and then washed with the faucet or whatever, it would hit the tampon and then absorb all the water and then like fucking push out, right? So I never got into tampons.
Yeah, that's not how it works, Dashu. But do you think that in India it's not as popular because people think that it'll break your hymen?
No, I don't think that's
I
the
feel like
reason.
it's definitely.
I don't think so.
It's too like penile looking.
I think it's too I think it's too too intimate. And again, people are just not comfortable talking about periods, right? Like to then explain to a girl who's 13 years old that like you have now shoved this up yourself.
Yeah.
That's an uncomfortable conversation for parents to have.
Oh.
I think that's what it is.
Would you be uncomfortable having that conversation?
No. I don't think so. It's very different now. My voice. Why are you making faces?
Always.
I'll make you have the
Always.
conversation.
You need to have like Hajmola or something. I don't know what. Every episode. The old lady you're turning into. I'm the one who's older.
I'm the one who's taller. So it's okay. Anyway, so cups. One of my friends started using it when I was at Jamun, which means this was
2017.
No.
18.
18 I graduated. 18, 19. It must have been in like late 2019 or early 2020. She started using it and she was like, you need to use it. Like, it's life-changing, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, fuck no, I'm not doing this shit. And then I had a few other conversations with some other friends and stuff. And then they were like, just try it out and stuff. So I was like, cool, I will try it out. And I made the mistake of buying a cup from Sirona. It's a brand.
Yeah, I got it.
I mean, again, like, this is what's a little irritating about cups and stuff and, like, just knowledge about it in general is that you don't understand what your size is. Some say that, like, depending on your body size, pick your size. So like I'm a big girl, so I was like, I'll get a medium, right? And then some brands also say that like pre-giving birth you use a smaller size, and once you've had a child, like post childbirth, you can start using a larger cup and stuff like that. So I was like, I went by what Serona said and I bought a medium, and I tried it, and it just never worked for me. I would just leak always, and I was like, I don't understand why I'm leaking, but like, and I tried everything. So like you can fold it differently. So there's one which is like the C fold, where you fold it in half and then you fold it another half, and it creates like this little like double C, and then you shove it in. And then there's one which is like this like some flower name I can't remember, and you basically like punch, it's called a punch down method or something. So you punch it down from one side and then you fold it over, then shove it in. So I tried all of that, never worked. What actually happened was that the cup was too big for me, and it was never properly opening up, and so from the sides it would just the blood would leak out and stuff. So then I stopped using it after like 2 months of trying really hard, and then once when I was in office, and I think I was like, either I was emptying my cup or I don't know, I dropped it into the pot. And I was like, fuck it. I flushed it. And it ran out.
Did it flush?
Yeah.
You really must have fucked up the...
Whatever. They always had issues. Holocaust village. Then like at least like 6-7 months later, I found the Boond cup in Jaipur. So I bought it. And that's actually been really good. It's a lot softer. The silicone is a lot softer. And yeah, it just works for me. I use a smaller size. That was a lesson for me. And yeah, like you have to be really comfortable about like, so you shove it in, then you also shove in your finger, and then like go around the entire like thing to make sure that like it's opened up properly. If it hasn't, then you pull it out again, do the same thing, blah blah blah. So you do need to be comfortable with your own body. I know that not everybody is. I remember like I had a friend in school who would like faint at the sight of blood, and even her periods were really difficult for her. And then I actually had my best friend and another friend of mine both react really badly to periods. So like really bad cramps and stuff. One would faint every time she got her period, and it was just really sad. And I was like, oh my God, you poor girl. And like, just like even the cup makes it really evident when you empty it out. It's just like fucking iron ka smell. And it's just like yucky, like whatever. Like say what you have to. It's yucky. Yeah. And like it's all goopy and yucky.
Goopy is good.
I know it's good, but
goopy
it's
means
like,
your body's doing the good
you're
job.
You're like, fucking hell, these things
platelets.
Are like killing me, like that's basically the lumps are what causes the pain in your period, in whatever, like through your period.
Really?
If you have really lumpy blood, you can actually feel it fall out, and that's what then you feel the release of pain, and at least that's how it works for me.
Interesting.
So yeah, yeah, I mean, if girls haven't tried the period cup, you should. I really like Boond. They have like
and
really
nice
size cute colors.
Size?
I'm a small.
Okay.
I actually such a funny story. I think I came back from some trip. I'd had my period when I was during that trip, and then it had gotten over. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it had gotten over while I was still on that trip, and then I must have like put it in like my plastic bag and brought it back and everything. And then the next cycle, I couldn't find my cup, and I was like, "Where the hell is it gone?" And I was convinced that I had used it in the previous cycle at home and stuff. Yeah. So then I bought another one, and then like 2 days after that, the previous cup shows up, and I was like, "What the hell?"
Where was it?
In my suitcase. Oh. It was really sad. But now I have 2 Boond cups. I think I still have one of my Seronas. The good thing about cups is that they last up to like 5 to 10 years.
Oh wow.
I still, as a precaution, on my first and maybe my second day, put on a pad because I just don't like the leakage. It's not a bad thing. It's fine if you leak, girls, but like, it's yucky, right? We established that.
Yes, yucky, right?
Yucky. But yeah, try it out. I hope Boond hears this and then decides to sponsor me. Duh. And then maybe I can get you guys discount codes. But it's not expensive. It's like $400. And it lasts
you. Yeah, ROI is so high.
Lasts you 5 years. Pads, on the other hand, are so expensive. Give you rashes, whatnot. Like, ugh, fuck that. So yeah.
On that note,
On that note, I need a, like, my back is hurting now.
Oh.
So, like last time. But also, it's my period.
Okay.
But yeah, I hope that was insightful for you guys and you enjoyed the episode. And like maybe ask us questions because Archit didn't ask me anything.
I asked you questions. We've talked about it for 40 minutes now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Clearly.
Sorry.
I mean, if it was 40 minutes, that means we've had a good scintillating conversation.
Fine.
Clearly, you had more thoughts about this than our honeymoon. So whatever. Whatever.
New honeymoon idea? Cruise. Pavni, I'll be reaching out to you.
Oh God, cruise. Okay.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Say
See
bye-bye.
you. Bye.